What we did is we took an array with arrays in it and made it into an array with objects in it. And we could have done the reverse. We could have made an object with arrays in it, and we can stack these as deep as we want. We could put objects with arrays that have objects in them, all inside of each other. And actually, that's the way most of the internet communicates. Um, Stacking arrays and objects together is a structured form of storing data. And we call this form JSON, which stands for JavaScript Object Notation. And you can do some pretty cool things with it. That is the way that the vast majority of websites talk to each other, is they send each other information packaged up in this JSON format, or in other words, objects and arrays inside of each other. Well, I'm going to show you one of the cool ways to apply that. So if you are on a Mac, hit Command Shift P. If you are on a Windows, hit Control Shift P. That will pop up this top tab right here. And I want you to type in the word snippets. And I need to move this bar so I can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, and I want you to click Configure Snippets. Then what I want you to do is I want you to type JS and click on JavaScript. What this allows you to do is it allows you to write JSON, which will let you use keyboard shortcuts to type something short and have it pre-fill in your code. So if I come back over to script.js, for example, if I type console, you can see it pops up here and I can hit tab and it will auto-complete for me. Well, wouldn't it be nice if we could write our own? Well, we can. All we have to do is follow JSON syntax. So JSON has an object here, and in that object, we need to put keys and values, or definitions and the things that they're storing, if we're thinking of our dictionary example. So for example, maybe it takes me forever to write a function. So I'm going to type the word create function. Then I'm going to put a colon and curly braces. So this here is information about the shortcut I'm creating. And then inside of that object, we need to create a key called prefix. Okay, this is what we want to type to quickly get for our message to pop up. So when we start typing console and hit tab, it writes the full word console. So what is the keyboard shortcut you want to type? Well, for me, for a function, it'd be nice if I could type FUNC. Great. Then it says, what code do you want me to replace that shortcut with? Well, this can actually take an array. And each item in that array is a line of code, and they'll be entered onto new lines. So, for example, I could say, I want to write the word const my function, and I want to set it equal to opening parentheses, and then an arrow, and then an opening curly brace. Then I'm going to put a comma. Then I'm going to say on the next line, I want you to put the keyword return. And then on the next line, I want you to put a closing curly brace. So what this does is it effectively writes us a function with all of those on different lines. It loops through this array, grabs information out of it, and puts it onto your VS Code page. And then I'm going to put a comma after this body attribute, which is storing this array. And I'm going to add one last attribute, which is called description. This describes what my keyboard shortcut does. And I'll say shortcut to write a function. When we save this, we can come over here to script.js. We said when we type FUNC, we want it to auto-populate. So if I type FUNC and hit tab, boom, it put in all of that code that I just asked for. Well, this is great, but every time we call it, our variable is going to be named my function. Also, wouldn't it be nice if we could fill in some parameters? Also, maybe we don't always want to return, and it'd be nice if we could put some stuff into this function. So now what I want to show you is how you can edit what we just did so that it'll automatically put your cursor in those locations and you can hit tab. So when I create a function, I want to say const, and where I have my function, I actually just want the user to type something. And then here in these parentheses is the next place they're going to want to type something. So I'm going to type $2. And what it does is it'll put the user's cursor in those locations when they type this. And so instead of putting return, I'm going to put $3. And then where you want the final position to be is where you put $0. So I'm going to save this. And I'm going to come over here to script.js. And I'm going to call my keyboard shortcut again. So I'll type FUNC, hit tab. Notice it put my cursor here. I can call this my function. And then hit tab. Then it automatically put my cursor in the next position I told it I wanted to. So I could say num1 and then num2 and then hit tab. And then it put my cursor into the function itself. And then I can say return num1 plus num2. And then I'll hit tab and it puts my cursor at the end of the function, which is very, very cool. The last thing I wanted to show you is you can put a cursor in multiple places at the same time. So for example, if I type another $1, what it'll do is it'll put my cursor both here and here. So if I save this and I come over here and I type my keyboard shortcut, notice my cursor is now in two places. And this can make it a lot faster to write code if you have code that you're repeating over and over. For example, maybe defining a function. You can take advantage of objects with keys that are holding another object with a key that's holding an array. And so you can nest objects and arrays together to make your VS Code do some really cool things.